Getting a Porsche GT3 allocation in 2026 is nearly impossible. But this owner didn't just get the car. He flew halfway around the world to Germany, took delivery of his GT3 right at the source, carved through mountain roads, experienced the sights, even some cows, and of course unleashed it on the Autobahn. Power! That's exactly how you should start your new supercar experience.
So with that, back to the studio.
This Laguna Blue GT3 is sitting in our shop covered in the aftermath of an unforgettable European road trip. You're probably thinking it already. Brand new GT3, mountain roads, Autobahn speeds, and now it's covered in rock chips before we even fully protected it. Here's the thing, we expected that. In fact, this customer reached out before delivery with the exact same concern, because this is the #1 issue with Euro delivery cars. And while there is a solution, there is no perfect solution to this particular conundrum. Because the real problem with Euro delivery isn't just rock chips, it's what happens to the paint during the shipping process from Germany to your US-based dealership. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about and showing you in this video, because this car has multiple unique paint issues that are unique only to Euro delivery cars. Issues that are bad enough to potentially make you skip that Euro delivery altogether. So the mission is simple. Make it look better than brand new. Erase the imperfections from the Germany Grand Tour so the owner never second guesses a single mile of that trip. To get there, we start with a full decontamination followed by multi-stage paint correction to fix all the defects and achieve the shine and clarity Porsche could not offer. Then we lock it all in with STEK PPF. The result? Every drive is now backed by peace of mind that your impossible to get GT3 will look brand new for years to come. To all the returning status fans, welcome back. And to all the first time car enthusiasts tuning in, you might have just found your new YouTube home for automotive detail stories and detailing tips. So let's get into it. The car arrived relatively dirty, but it was pretty obvious that the owner had at least washed it before it came to me, because you have to remember, this car had a long trip from Germany all the way to me. The most obvious things were the water spots filled with dirt, and the most notable thing was the dirty wheels that needed a deep clean now. When a car comes to status detail for paint correction, ceramic coatings, PPF, etc., the car is effectively coming to us for over a week-long surgery. Before you do any kind of surgery, you need a really clean environment and a very clean patient. So even if the car had come in relatively clean with no obvious dirt on it, we would still have washed it. Because you don't just skip having a clean patient before doing any kind of intense quote-unquote surgery-type services. In fact, the car is actually going to get a second wash, which I'll show you later. Once the car is clean, I can pull it inside and start seeing lots of issues. The hood had extremely bad swirl marks and just straight line scratches. The scratches weren't too deep, so they were definitely fixable. Defects like this can happen so many different ways, so it's hard to know when this stuff happened. It could have been an improper wash, it could have been that the car was wiped down at the port when it was extremely dirty, with no delivery wrap on it. It's really anyone's guess. The front bumper was no better. In fact, I would say it was considerably worse. Lots of scratches and swirl marks and buffing holograms everywhere. And don't forget those trademark bad sanding marks from the factory. The doors had some pretty strange marks on them as well, including some of the delivery wrap glue still on the driver door. The entire car, top to bottom, front to back, basically needed extreme paint correction. But that wasn't really the weird part, because it's pretty normal for us to see a lot of this on a new 911. What is not normal is the overall lack of clarity in all of the vertical facing surfaces. It's almost like heavy oxidation. I believe these things happened because the car shipped with no delivery wrap. That delivery wrap is really keeping the car safe from all the things that would settle on a vertical surface like environmental fallout and seawater. So when that's not on the car, all of these things settle on the clear coat and it really roughs up the paint. When I zoom in on these photos of the hood, you can really see the bizarre texture in the clear coat. This is exactly what I'm talking about, and I've never really seen this on a car that went through the standard shipping delivery process. This is pretty unique for a brand new, just delivered car. It has to do with the fact that it shipped with no delivery wrap. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but again, this isn't really the biggest problem yet.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The photos you're seeing now are of a strange defect that were actually caused by the owner. These happened in Germany, and we actually basically knew that these were going to happen. I had lengthy discussions with the customer about this because there is no good solution to this particular problem that has to do with the Euro delivery. When you put track wrap on a car, it does not go on perfectly. Wherever that track wrap is, which by the way is effectively PPF, is holding the paint in place, it will expand and contract at different rates. So all of these weird lines and circles are where there were bubbles or lines in that track wrap PPF that he had put on temporarily. So obviously you see the conundrum. If we do no track wrap, the risk of rock chips was extremely high. If we do track wrap, the risk of rock chips is very low, but then we have all of these extra issues to contend with. Because he had planned such an extensive trip to Germany, we decided track wrap was the best option, and that we would just fix the aftermath when the car came to me. Yeah, lucky me, right? The good news is all of this is effectively fully fixable, but it's not exactly easy to fix. The main reason this stuff happens is because the paint expands and contracts at different rates, mostly due to heat causing that expansion and then cooling it back down. So if you take a heat gun, very, very carefully, mind you, and heat areas back up, you can kind of artificially make the expansion and contraction happen again. Effectively, you're making the clear coat swell, and then when it settles again, it actually settles more evenly and the lines dissipate. And for all the people that are just saying, just put PPF over it, you won't see it, well, we did put test pieces and we knew for a fact that it would show, so we knew we had to massively improve this, so it would not show when the new PPF went out. This is a very tricky process, and it's something a professional should handle. After I heated the hood for a while, I decided to do some other work on the car, like remove the OEM PPF from the quarter panels. While I'm doing this other work, the hood is cooling down. You have to kind of do this in cycles so you don't overheat the panels. After some time passes and the hood has cooled back down, I go back and heat it back up because we need to do multiple cycles of the clear coat expanding and contracting, meaning it needs to get hot and then cool down. After another round of heat, I wanted everything to cool down again, so I sprayed it with water to obviously speed up the cooling process, but also decided to clay bar the hood. We still have that really awful texture oxidation thing going on, and we needed to see what we could do to fix that. I like to do the least aggressive thing first. A lot of people would have jumped directly to paint correction here with a really, really hard-hitting compound. On a brand new car like this, I really want to prioritize keeping as much clear coat on the car as possible. Jumping directly to compound would definitely work, but it also is going to remove a lot of clear coat in the process. Using a clay bar is going to remove no clear coat, has a high likelihood of removing a large amount of contamination that's stuck in the clear coat that's giving it this weird appearance. It's also going to double towards my step of cooling the paint because I just heated it up and now I'm cooling it back down. Where the paint correction step would have added more heat. This is an easy mistake to make where you just heated the hood and then you go to paint correct and you accidentally add more heat. This could have led to actually completely damaging the clear coat. On top of all of this, I don't really want to put all of the crud that's stuck in the clear coat into my pad. I want to get all that in my clay bar, and then when I actually do the paint correction, I'm correcting the clear coat itself and not interacting with all the crud that's stuck between the pad and the clear coat. As you can see, the clay bar is filthy. Now that we have the car properly prepped, the clear coat is looking a lot better. And now that it's actually feeling pretty smooth, I can move on to the paint correction process. At this particular step, I still see lots of issues that are lingering from the track wrap issue. Overall, I have removed almost all of the track wrap problems just by heating it, but I didn't remove everything, primarily the line that is in the hood where the track wrap started and stopped. That was about 2 feet or so up the hood, kind of like what a traditional old school quarter hood PPF would have looked like. At this stage, the paint correction is pretty hardcore. We're using a very aggressive pad and compound to do the paint correction. The compound is now working for me to remove what I would effectively call dead clear coat. It's kind of like exfoliating the top layer of bad clear away from a healthy layer underneath. This process is aggressive, but the method that I'm using is maximizing how much clear coat I'm removing, so then I can follow this with a less aggressive step. Because the clear coat was in such bad shape on arrival, the light could literally not reach the blue paint effectively. Basically, light hits your clear coat, passes through it, and hits the color coat, and then bounces off that back through the clear coat and then into your eye. And that's how you see color. When the clear coat is damaged and oxidized and has all that dirt embedded in it that we pulled out with the clay bar, you have a problem where the light can't really bounce in and out perfectly of the clear coat. And because of that, it massively impacts your ability to see the true color of the car. Basically, it was so contaminated it literally could not show its true color. That's why paint correction is so important, especially on brand new cars.
Perfekt in Schlag.
You can also see all of the sanding marks and swirl marks are also now fixed. And in similar fashion to the oxidation, when you have all of those swirls, the light kind of gets stuck bouncing around in the scratches instead of just going directly into the color coat and then bouncing back out. All of these things are going to massively impact the overall gloss and shine of your car. The steps you just saw, I would definitely categorize as kind of like an automotive surgery. But the steps we are about to do next, well, that's like a week-long hardcore surgery.
I am so deep inside of Perfekt in Schlag right now.
At this stage, the car needs to be even cleaner than it was after that first wash. So the second wash is honestly more important than the first one. This is when we really go after everything that we can. I washed the car to get rid of all the dust, but I'm also now chasing dust and dirt out of every seam, out of every jam, and out of every rubber seal. All of these things are going to want to secretly leak a piece of dust out during the PPF application and ruin our PPF job. You cannot overwash the car at this stage, and you cannot over-rinse it either. I also typically clean the shop at this stage, especially the floor and all the countertops. We bulk install PPF, and what you're seeing here is the stretching phase. It's the most important part of the PPF installation because if you get this wrong, you will simply completely fail. The film will not be able to be installed if it's not stretched perfectly. If you understretch it, you'll get fingers. Fingers are basically bunched up film. Once it bunches up, you're not going to be able to squeegee that film back down, which basically means you fail. Don't pass go, start over. If you overstretch it, depending on the panel, you still might not be able to get the film down in some places. And more importantly, overstretching makes the film thinner. And then the film is less likely to do its job, which is protecting the paint. So you want to stretch perfectly, just enough to make it so it sucks itself against the car so you can squeegee it down perfectly with no fingers, but not too much that you've thinned the film out too much. What you're seeing on camera here is called floating the film. This is a really unique way to install PPF that most shops don't do. Once you get the stretch perfect, you will notice as an installer that the film might have started to kind of grab in a couple spots because you're putting some tension on the film and it kind of starts to adhere to the clear coat. So at this phase, we actually wiggle the film a bunch and make sure that everything is very loose and free floating and that it's not stuck down at all. Once we can confirm everything looks good, we hose down the adhesive side of the film again with water and soap. That's what we call slip solution. This effectively makes the film float on all that soapy water, hence why we call floating the film. Now that everything is floating and stretched perfectly, we can squeegee it out. Because we do this all in one process, the likelihood of adhesive lines is virtually 0%. Because we back-rolled the film onto the car, the likelihood of dust or debris, also basically 0%. On a bumper like this, the most likely way to get dust is usually from something leaking out of like the taillight area, which is why we went so crazy with our prep process that you just saw previously. The bulk install process is the pinnacle of PPF installation. It's like ordering a 100% custom-tailored suit. The installer has the freedom to make all the cuts exactly how he wants and where he wants them. On some cars, this might be a fraction of a millimeter extra long or extra short to make sure that the wrap is just right. It's the freedom to bulk stretch a panel that the plotter software says requires multiple relief cuts, but our bulk install eyes says, it doesn't require any. To learn how to bulk install to the level that we do here takes very, very long. It would take years of experience from day one starting with no experience to get to the level that we have reached here. The reality is turnover in the average PPF shop is pretty high, so most shops don't have that much time to teach everyone how to bulk install something to the level that we are doing here. But you can teach the average person in a few months how to plot install. And most shops do a lot of volume, so they have a lot of installers, so they just have to rely on the fact that plotting is what most people expect for a standard in the industry, and if an installer leaves, the business won't go out of business because they lost the main installer. They can just train a new person on how to plot and get most average panels done relatively quickly and easily. Status detail really doesn't, do average. We don't operate like a normal PPF shop either. Currently, it's just me and Obed. Previous to Obed, the company was really only me. Obed had previous PPF install knowledge and training, but it was mostly plotting knowledge. Now that knowledge is extremely helpful, and it lays the groundwork for a great PPF installer. But when he started here, I really Mr. Miyagi'd him into being an incredible bulk installer.
Wax on, wax off.
Obed installs bulk panels often better than me now. He recently did a rear 296 bumper, and I told him that I usually relief cut this part because it's pretty difficult. And I let him do his thing, came back into the shop about an hour later to check on him, and he had told me that he did it with no relief cut. And to my disbelief, I looked at it, and it looked perfect. No stretch lines, no adhesive lines, and nothing was peeling, even 30 minutes after the installation. Sometimes the teacher can teach someone something like the bulk install process, but then the student can take that information and take it to a whole nother level of advancement that the teacher didn't know was possible in the first place. So needless to say, anyone that seems to have any questions about if Obed installs well and if I should be doing the cars versus him, let that story put your mind at ease. Obed has become a master of the bulk install. Occasionally we do plot things as well. The G80 M3 is a great example, as the front bumper on that car is crazy to try and bulk install on. These 992/911 quarter panels are pretty tricky and more intimidating than you might think. It is a massive piece of 60-inch film. If you make a mistake, then the company loses quite a lot of money. So a lot is on the line every time you roll one of these big suckers out. Obed, once again, is also as calm as could be when doing it. It doesn't hurt that I've supplied him with what seems to be a nearly endless supply of 992 911s. I mean, after you've done like 50 of these things, obviously you're going to be pretty good at it. And to that point, we do more Porsches than most shops do. When you do the same kind of car over and over and over again, you just become a master at it. I believe that's one of the reasons we just keep getting more and more 911s, GT3s, Spider RSs, GT4 RSs, etc. If you own a Porsche and want the world's best detail, we are simply the best one-stop shop for all detailing needs. And that's why almost every one of these cars has shipped in from out of state. Our customers aren't shopping at a price point. They're shopping at a quality and level of service standpoint. And when you shop for those things, you quickly find we don't have much competition. Well, you're still here. That either means you're avoiding your responsibilities, or I actually made a pretty good video. You want the truth?
I want the truth!
I mean, I'll tell you guys, but
You can't handle the truth!
okay, fine, it was the memes. You stayed for those incredible memes.
There you go. Now everybody's happy.
Anyways, if you laughed, learned something, or just enjoyed hanging out, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you know someone who's obsessed with cars like you are, send it their way. Before you go, I've got one question for you. If this was your dream GT3, would you do the European delivery? Or would the extra miles and the detailing challenges make you skip it? Or maybe we're all overthinking it. Maybe these cars were built to be driven, not hidden away. Get it, drive it, enjoy every mile. Protecting it is important, but so is the unforgettable delivery and ownership experience, and that's what you'll remember years from now. Not the tiny chip before the PPF went on. And if you have status detail in your corner to solve all your problems and ensure the car is always looking its best, well, that's just a bonus. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.